Star Trek. A sentence of death for all who dare a haunted planet. Our inability to establish contact with the Willis colony is not surprising, Captain. The severe atmospheric interference caused by the storms in the colony's vicinity persists. Have you come up with any answers to your mystery? I have not. Getting frustrated, Spock? That is a human response, Captain. I am perplexed. Considering Alpha Darwin's distance from its sun, it should not be a temperate Class M world capable of sustaining human life without environmental support structures. Well, we'll solve that puzzle soon enough. Savik, standard orbit. Aye, sir. Chekhov, as soon as the storms on Alpha Darwin let up, I want a landing party ready to beam down with survival gear. The colonists may need our help. Aye, Captain. Acceptable risk. My God, Jim! Let's find Mark Willis. Jim! Over here! Help us! We got people trapped in here. Mark, Bones, this way. Bones, now. I'm glad you were in the neighborhood, Jimmy. Kirk to Enterprise. Transporter room. Have a medical team standing by. Mark, 15 dead? In 2 years? Yep. Including my wife. God, Mark, I'm sorry. So am I. But there's 65 of us left. Maybe Alpha Darwin isn't the place for this colony. It's a great place, except for the damn storms. Were all the deaths a result of these storms? Every last one. Don't get me wrong. Every life's precious. But there are no guarantees out here. You know that as well as anybody, Jimmy. No guarantees. That's what you always used to tell me when we were kids. And when I dared you to do all those crazy stunts. Yeah. And I did 'em anyway. Tricorder analysis reveals 8 highly toxic pollutants, sir. I don't like the looks of this. If we go upstream, maybe we'll find the source. There is evidence of recent flooding, Commander Chekhov. No surprise, considering those storms. This is it, Savik. So it would seem, sir. A mining facility, quite basic by our standards, that appears to violate every environmental code in the Federation. Unfortunately, this colony is not in the Federation. No matter what we think, they can do anything they please. Captain's log. Supplemental. Dr. McCoy reports that the 5 injured colonists were fortunately not badly hurt. But I find Chekhov and Savik's report on the Alpha Darwin mining facility disturbing. Disturbing? Disturbing? Is that all you can say? And what would you call it, Doctor? A hell of a lot more than disturbing. They're poisoning their own damn planet. It is their planet, not subject to Federation jurisdiction. Look, are you being diplomatic just because Mark Willis is an old pal? No. Tuchinski, energize. Aye, sir. You know me better than that. I thought I did. Don't you see the pattern I see? What pattern? A casual disregard for this planet's ecology, not to mention the lives and safety of his colonists. I can't believe that, Bones. You don't know Mark. Maybe you don't either. Not anymore. Look, I know Mark Willis is a throwback, an old-fashioned pioneer type, with about as much patience for rules as you've got for Vulcans. When we were kids, I was about as cautious as a mouse in a room full of sleeping cats. You? Yep. Mark was always goading me into risky ventures. Risky ventures such as, rock climbing. Come on, Jimmy, you're falling behind. Just as long as I don't fall down. Diving off Suicide Falls. Suicide Falls? You're nuts, Willis. I know. Running some rapids. Ah! So you were both lunatics. So, what's the point? The point is, Mark helped me learn the value of taking risks. I'm not so sure there's value in risking your fool neck. Look, without all that, I don't think I ever would have thought about becoming a starship captain. Or an amateur psychologist. That I learned from you. Look, Jim, I'm not kidding. I think the man's got a problem, and it may be costing colonists their lives. And I think you're wrong, Bones, but I'll talk to him. Yeah, so we're on contract to the Bacadans. I never heard of them. Bacada 3's about 5 light years from here. The Bacadans are looking to expand, but they don't like to get their hands dirty. And you do. Right. And the Bacadans and I see eye to eye. Resources are there to be exploited by the first guy smart enough and tough enough to get the job done. The Bacadans footed the bill, and I promised them a profitable mining operation in short order. And I've always dreamed of an operation like this, Jimmy. My big chance. Someplace where I've got a free hand to do everything my way. I've got my whole reputation riding on the fate of this place. But does your success have to come at the cost of ruining the environment here? Look around. I see a triumph of technology over nature. And I see unnecessary damage, Mark. You could have done all this another way. The Federation could have... Save your breath, Jimmy. Maybe you've got to live by a shipload of rules and regs, but I don't. You've got no say here. That's no uniform you're wearing. It's a straitjacket. Look, we can argue later. We've got to find cover. Inside the tunnels. Careful, the rocks get slippery. I noticed. Captain Spock, storm intensity increasing. Very well, Savick. Fire probes. Look, there they are. What is it? The rain gods. Mark. Go. Jimmy. Come on. Jimmy! Jim, the next time you feel like shooting the rapids, try not to hit the rocks with your head. Thanks for the advice, Bones. Ouch! There, good as new. Won't even be a scar. Thanks to me. And I hope this experience knocks some sense into that fortunately thick skull of yours. The man hears voices. Rain gods, for God's sake, screaming for him to get off this planet. Does that sound normal to you? Well, it doesn't sound normal to me. If you ask me, we're talking about a man who does not have all his engines online. Bones, I heard them too, before I rammed my head. At least, I think I did. The longer we stay, the louder they scream. But we beat them, Jimmy. They're like the primitive gods that ruled ancient Earth, but they'll never rule me. Maybe McCoy's right about Mark. They're just storms, aren't they? But if they are just storms, then what did I hear? Kirk here. Sorry to disturb you, Captain, but we have collected some intriguing new data and confirmed a suspicion. You mean I did hear voices? In a manner of speaking. In a manner of speaking. Was that a joke, Spock? Not that I am aware of, Doctor. Intensive analysis of the most recent atmospheric turbulence revealed the presence of organic molecules in organized sequences. You mean life forms? Affirmative. Incorporeal life forms with an elemental composition indicating they are apparently indigenous to this star system. Why didn't we know this before? Because our sensors were rendered ineffective by the storms. We were unable to collect information until we fired our proximity probes directly into the eye of the disturbance. Are these life forms causing the storms? I believe so, Captain. How? There is an unusual atmospheric layer at an altitude of 12 to 15 kilometers between the troposphere and stratosphere, composed of unidentified radioactive metallic ions. This layer appears to be inimical to these life forms, acting as a repellent. The storms are the result of their futile attempts to breach the ionic layer. Caught inside, they are, in effect, imprisoned here. Is there anything we can do to free them? Theoretically, if we retune our phaser harmonics and fire into the atmosphere, we may be able to dissipate the ionic layer. Then what are we waiting for? If I may employ a colloquialism, there is a catch. I was afraid of that. What is it? If you will recall the puzzle of this planet's temperate climate, this ionic layer is the solution. It has caused a benign greenhouse effect. If we eliminate the ionic shield, this planet will revert to its natural condition. A lifeless ball of ice. Affirmative. The colony will have to be removed. Uh-oh. No way is Mark Willis going to go along with that. Spock, I almost hate to ask, but do you have any idea where this ionic radiation layer came from? My reply is conjecture, Captain. I have no irrefutable proof, but it is logical to conclude that it was somehow manufactured by the colony in order to effect a climate change. Entrapment of the indigenous life forms was probably accidental. Well, accidental or not, we've got to do something to free them. And just what do you propose? I've got to convince Mark Willis to move his colony. Oh, and while you're doing that, I'll become a Vulcan. But I don't give a damn about these trapped life forms. If they're inferior to humans, they don't deserve to survive. Well, hasn't it occurred to you they may take you with them? How many more bodies have to be buried in that graveyard? Mark, there are other worlds to conquer. Nobody's chasing me off this one. Not them, and not you. There's your devil, Jimmy. That's the module that altered the atmosphere and maintains it. Where'd you get it? I found the technology outside the Federation. When I told the Bacadans it would transform this planet in a fraction of the time and cost of standard terraforming, they jumped at the chance. And it works, Jimmy. Well, not for the life forms that were here before you. Federation laws don't apply here, and I think it's about time you and your starship took off. This isn't about Federation law. This is about right and wrong, and what you're doing is wrong. If I have to use force to remove this colony, I will. I don't have to listen to this. Oh yes, you do. Ugh. Oh! Kirk, do I right? I wouldn't do that if I were you. Let the captain go. Oh! Captain's log. Supplemental. Thanks to Mr. Spock, the layer of radiated ions has been neutralized, and the mysterious life forms of Alpha Darwin have been liberated. In addition, the colonists have voted their agreement with our actions, and they've severed their association with Mark Willis. We'll be taking them to the nearest star base for relocation. My friend remains unrepentant. We can drop you and your equipment off at Bacada 3. The nearest spaceport will do. I can make my own way back. I don't expect expect somebody like you to understand. I was doing what I had to do. Do you really believe that? I'll do it again if I have the chance. Then so will I, Mark. So will I.